Hey guys, today we're going to do a little practice on factoring because I know we're a little bit rusty. So let's look at our first example. I have the polynomial 2x squared plus 11x plus 12. Okay, so in order to start factoring, we want to find factors of a, c. So for us, a is 2, c is 12. So 2 times 12 gives me 24. So let's start listing factors of 24, starting with 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Okay, now out of those four options, we're looking for the one that has a sum of b, so that will add up to b. For us, our b is 11. So going through this list, 1 plus 24 is 25, so that's not going to be the one. 2 plus 12 is 14, so not it. 3 plus 8, that's our 11. That's the one that we're going to use. The last one would have been 10. So we're going to use the numbers positive 3 and positive 8. So let's rewrite this polynomial as 2x squared plus 3x plus 8x plus 12. So you'll notice that that 11 got split up into positive 3 and positive 8. So now we cut that polynomial in half, so right down the middle. And let's look at these first two terms. What do they have in common? So of course they both have an x. And as far as the numbers 2 and 3, they are both prime, so they don't have any common numbers. So we're going to write our x, and in parentheses, let's do what would happen if we divided. For this first one, the 2 is going to stay the same, but the x is going to go down by 1 exponent, so 2x. Then here, the 3 will stay, but the x's cancel out, so we'll have plus 3. Okay, now for the second half of that, eight x and 12, what do they have in common? So this time they don't have an x, but they are both divisible by 4. So we're going to write our positive 4 and say what happens when we divide. 8 divided by 4 is 2, but it still has an x, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So you'll know you did this correctly because what's inside of the parentheses is the same for both of them, and that's going to be our first factor. And then everything outside of the parentheses is the other factor, so x plus 4. And that is our final answer. Okay, let's look at our next one. We have m to the second power plus 2m minus 15. So I'm going to label, this would be our a, b, and c. So for our a, it's an invisible 1. So multiplying a and c, 1 times negative 15 is negative 15. But now let's list all of the factors that go with that. So I can have negative 1 times 15, negative 3 times 5, and then of course the other way around. So positive 1 and negative 15, positive 3 and negative 5. Now we're looking for the one that has a sum equal to b. So for us, that's the 2. Which one has a sum of positive 2? So this first one is 14. That one's not it. This one is 2, so I think it's that one, but let's check the rest. This is negative 14, and then this one is negative 2. So be very careful. We do need it to be positive 2. So it's going to be these two numbers here. So let's rewrite this polynomial. M squared minus 3m plus 5m minus 15. Okay, split that down the middle. And for the first two terms, they both have an m. So let's divide by m. That would give us m minus 3. Okay, and then for the second half, they are both divisible by 5. So positive 5, this would be m minus 3. So again, you know you did this correctly when what's in the parentheses is the same for both of them, and that is going to be your first factor. And your second factor is everything that's on the outside, so m plus 5. So that is our final answer for number 2. Okay, let's look at the third one. B squared minus 6b minus 16. Okay, so this is going to be our A, B, and C. Again, A is invisible 1. So let's start by multiplying A times C, so that would be negative 16. Now, what are all the factors? I can do negative 1 times 16, negative 2 times 8, negative 4 times 4, and then you can do the other way around. So positive 1, negative 16, positive 2, negative 8, and then the 4s can stay like that. We're looking for the one that has a sum of B, so which one will add up to negative 6? So the first one I have 15, that's not it. That's 6, 0, that's not it. Negative 15, and negative 6. So be careful, see how 2 of them are 6? But we specifically need it to be negative, so we're going to use these 2 down here. So let's rewrite our polynomial. B squared plus 2b minus 8b minus 16. Make sure you put the negative with the 8. So if I split this down the middle, the first 2 terms both have a b in common. And then we say what happens when we divide. So that would be b plus 2. Now for the second 2 terms, they're both divisible by 8, but also notice that they're both negative. So I can divide by negative 8. So we're going to put a minus 8 here. Negative divided by a negative makes this a positive b. And a negative divided by a negative makes that a positive 2. Okay, so I know I did this correct because what's in the parentheses is the same for both of them. And that's going to be my first factor. And then my second factor is everything on the outside. So b minus 8. Okay, and then our last problem, 5x squared minus 13x plus 6. This is our A, B, and C. So let's start by multiplying A times C. 5 times 6 gives me 30. Okay, now let's list all of its factors. So 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, 5 times 6. But we need the one that has a sum of B, so it needs to add up to 13. So this is 31, this is 17, this is 13, this one is 11. So we have one that's 13, but it's kind of a problem because we need it to be negative, and that's a positive. So what if we did negative 3 and negative 10? A negative times a negative still gives me positive 30, but when I add them up, that gives me negative 13. So I'm going to actually use them when they're both negative. So rewriting this polynomial as 5x squared minus 3x minus 10x plus 6. Let's split that down the middle. For the first 2 terms, the only thing that they have in common is the x. So this would be 5x minus 3. Okay, then for the second 2 terms, looks like they're both even, so I can divide by 2. But whatever the sign is of the first one, so since the first one is negative, we're going to divide by a negative 2. So here, negative divided by a negative makes that positive 5x. And then here, positive 6 divided by negative 2 makes that negative 3. Okay, so I know I did this correctly because what's in the parentheses is the same for both of them, and that's my first factor. And then my second factor is everything on the outside, x minus 2. And that's my final answer. Okay, guys, that was our practice for factoring. Please let me know if you have any questions over this, and we can go over them tomorrow. Okay, bye, guys.